everybody. Welcome to the Super Weekend. You know what it is. We'll talk about the big game in a moment here at the Rochester Press Box, joined by Carl Falk. Good to have you, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back. Been a minute.
I mean, if we're going to bring him back, why not bring him back before the biggest game of the year?
It makes sense to me. I'm not sure anyone else, but, you know, I feel I'm entitled.
Does it make sense to you, Duffy?
Yeah, why would you not bring the biggest talent to put in that chair that we've had all year long for the biggest game?
And I love this. Where do I get this jersey?
Well, in honor of LeBron James, now the leading scorer in NBA history, it's the Goon Squad jersey from his hit movie Space Jam 2, who he defeated, much like he defeated capturing that record. It's a great movie. You saw the movie.
I saw the movie. Great, wouldn't say, but successful. Successful.
You got it. We're grown people now, right? You have to go put your head back and being an 8-year-old. It was fun.
You probably enjoyed Caddyshack 2 also.
Okay, jeez. Well, I'm feeling a little. Can we get somebody else now? Can we get Carl out of here?
I'm sorry, baby. He's committed. Carl, let's start first with LeBron James. I know Pat Duffy brought it up, but I mean, the fact that he was able to do this over a long period of time started when he fresh out of high school, and then the longevity to catch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Did you think that anyone was going to break that record?
No, I really didn't. And especially LeBron, because to me, LeBron James scoring is not what he does best. His overall game is so much better. And I always hated the LeBron, Jordan, who's the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's going on like crazy this week with this happening. But to me, the better comparison was always LeBron, Magic Johnson. Similar body types and great passers. LeBron's one of the best passing forwards ever to play the game. 4th all-time in career assists. Find me someone else at the top of the scoring list in the assist column. It's not there. He is a special player, and the fact he's done it and what he's doing in his 20th year is just mind-boggling to me.
I don't think he's going to catch Stockton, but still, great pass.
No, I think you can make the argument that he's never been the best scoring option on any team that he's ever played. Like from a traditional standpoint, I mean, Darius Miles, there's a famous quote from when LeBron was drafted. I thought we drafted LeBron to help me score more points. Darius Miles said that. But like, it's amazing, despite the fact that he's a household name, despite the fact that he's a billionaire, despite championships, you know, all these things, I still don't think we appreciate the story of LeBron James like we should. The burden that was on his shoulders from 14 years old, cover of Sports Illustrated as a senior in high school. Think of all the phenoms that we've seen over the years that never came close to living up to potential. LeBron exceeded that with all eyes on him while maturing as an adult. On top of that, he's married to his high school sweetheart. He looks like a great dad. Yep. He's never had any off-the-court scandal ever compared to your Brett Favre's, or I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
If you wrote this story as a script that he ends up the leading scorer in NBA history, with everything we just mentioned, they'd send it back, that it's too unbelievable. And yet there are still people that want to take shots at the guy because, he's not Jordan. Like, it's insane.
To that point, in the social media era, right? How do you think MJ would do in the social media era? I mean, let's be honest about that. I know, it's sacrilege to say anything bad about MJ. I loved MJ. I watched him, since he got to Carolina. But you think he would have survived like LeBron did in social media era?
And to that point, he didn't have the expectations that LeBron James had. Jordan wasn't supposed to be Jordan. Sam Bowie went ahead of Jordan. LeBron was the guy from the moment he was a freshman in high school. And even without social media, there's video of Jordan playing poker the night before NBA Finals games, right? No, you're absolutely right.
It's quite the story. You guys said it the best. I mean, everything I was thinking about before the show started, you guys brought up in understanding the success of it. The craziest thing about it is like he's made fun of more for other small things that we wouldn't even consider to be a topic, but because he's LeBron James, it becomes a topic.
And here's what stinks is I also love to hate LeBron James, the basketball player. Like, look, I've gone to all kinds of live sporting events in my life. I've never seen an athlete in person like I've seen what LeBron James has been able to do. And I want to be able to cheer for LeBron James. There are times where I have. But the way that he plays the game and conducts himself on the court, it's so much easier to criticize him, right? And his personality and the way that he kind of cries about things, that's the only thing I don't like about LeBron James.
Yeah.
The tantrum against the Celtics.
Yeah.
I cannot unsee that.
Yeah.
A grown man flopping around the court like that. Yes, he got fouled, but dude, come on.
And came back and won the series against the Celtics, and of course that 3-1 game against the Warriors that year that they won in 2016. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just so many great stories to remember. We'll have him around for a few more years, who knows, but happy to have him a part of the sports legacy. We'll talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to have Duffy play GM next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. If you like to travel like I do, you'll love my travel books. Buy one, get one free right now. Email me, let me know what you need. MikeTheGetawayGuy@gmail.com. I'll even sign it. MikeTheGetawayGuy@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Press Box. The Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda. 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. All right, the role of GM for the Buffalo Bills. The name Jordan Poyer. Where do you sit?
Okay, I would love to have Jordan Poyer back. I would love to. Well, here's the thing, man. Like, there's so many strikes against him right now when it comes to what the Bills are able to do. One, Tremaine Edmonds, in my opinion, for a length of time, is way more valuable than Jordan Poyer is right now. Two, Poyer is on the back end of where safeties typically fall off. And as much as you lost one game out of all the games he played this season, he missed multiple games due to injury. If I have to choose one or the other, I'm taking Tremaine Edmonds. And I would love to have Poyer back at a team-friendly deal, but I think you can also make the argument that having him back keeps you from finding that replacement for him that can play with Micah Hyde, learn from him for a couple of years, and then step into that leadership role. It hurts me to say this,
but
I think it's time for Jordan Poyer to be done in Buffalo.
It's interesting. Poyer said it's about the business. He is 32, Carl. So does that play a factor in this?
Yeah, to your point, yes. All of those things. You've got money invested in Micah Hyde. The Bills are at a point where you've got to plan to replace people who are going away, right? Guys like Edmonds, Micah Hyde eventually, and Poyer this year. Edmonds, personally, I'd let go as well. Is he very good young player? But here's the thing. The Bills have invested greatly on the defensive side of the football. All the draft picks up front, who's elite? Who's above average? I mean, there's nice, Boogie Basham and Epinenza are busts. Let's be honest. Second-round picks who you're going to let walk away after 4 years. Oliver, do you pick up his 5th year? Probably. Do you sign him after that? Probably. Has Rousseau shown you anything? My point to the defense is this. Your defense, although statistically good, is not elite. Where you have a chance to be elite is on the offensive side of the ball. It's time to switch philosophies and put your finances and draft picks with Josh Allen and look at the defenses this weekend. Aside from a couple players, they're very average. And this weekend is going to be a high-scoring game, in my opinion, because of the offensive side of the ball.
Is this going to be a shootout for the Super Bowl? Let's get into it. The Chiefs taking on the Eagles. You have high-potent offenses, very big defenses on either end.
Chiefs have the highest scoring offense in the NFL. The defense for the Eagles, defensive backfield, best passing defense in the NFL. The last time this happened, I believe it was the Broncos-Seahawks, and the Broncos got the better of them. However, I don't think the Eagles have played anywhere close to the talent that the Chiefs are. I don't think they've seen anything close to the offense that the Chiefs have. The only way that the Eagles have a chance to put this offense down is the injuries to the receiving core are so bad, because we're not going to really know until kickoff happens. I think that offense wins out and the Chiefs win this game, unless the wide receiver injuries are too devastating.
They're talking about Andy Reid going to the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. He does have a Super Bowl, but he got to win this game too, don't you think?
He's a Hall of Famer. Regardless of this game, he's a Hall of Fame. 5 straight AFC Championship games. Hosted 5 straight AFC Championship games. To your point about the defenses and Philly's defense, the Cowboys hung 40 on them late in the season. I don't know if you've seen Dak Prescott lately, but it wasn't exactly a stellar year. I think Mahomes is going to have success because I think the offensive line, and here's go back to my Bills point, the Chiefs rebuilt that offensive line a couple years ago. It's pretty good. They'll be able to give Mahomes time. The other side of the coin, Philly's offensive line has got a couple Hall of Famers up there. It's the best offensive line in football. They're going to be able to run it against the Chiefs unless Chris Jones comes up big. It's going to be on Jalen Hurts then to make a couple throws down the field. Should be a great game.
Who's hosting the trophy?
I think it's Kansas City. Because, look, if Kansas City doesn't win, you're a dynasty of one, and nobody wants to be Aaron Rodgers, especially the way Aaron Rodgers' life is going right now.
Well, yeah, I don't even go down that dark alley, literally. Who's going to win it?
Well played. Hall of Famer to be Andy Reid is 25-4, I believe, after a bye. As a bye, I put my money on Andy Reid, but it wouldn't surprise me if Philly gets him. But Andy Reid.
They are expecting about 50 million people to vote to basically bet on this game. $16 billion could be made over this weekend's game. So we'll wait and see what happens. Like it or not, coming up next, you're watching the Press Box.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Hey, I'm your getaway guy. Have I got a great cultural getaway this time of year for you and the whole family? It's free to see and it's only 2 hours away. It's my latest. Look for the Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
And frankly, running short on Buffalo Bills topics. So I thought we'd look at the schedule today and figure out what the games we least want to see are.
And so it's funny, I go through the schedule, right? It is unbelievable. The A-list games. I mean, the Bills are on prime time. 7 times really if you count Thanksgiving this season, right? There are 2 games that stand out to me where I'm yawning. One is the Minnesota game because Kirk Cousins is the most boring quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. Don't care. Maybe you get a little pop from Stephon Diggs playing his old team. But then again, the trade worked out so well for both teams. I don't think there's any animosity there. I think Buffalo going to Chicago will also be a boring game. I mean, I'm not really, although you do have the local connection of Ryan Poles, now the general manager, Canandaigua kid, the general manager of Chicago. So that's kind of cool. But other than those 2 games, I'm all
that one is the one that I had to pick because it's on Christmas Eve.
Tennessee. Understandable. Tennessee coming to Buffalo finally. But yes, all right, Tennessee, you've had a hard time the last 3 seasons. You threw the Miami Dolphins?
Yep.
Tariq Hill.
Sure.
Tua.
Yes.
You're out of your... How are you on a sports show, the Miami Dolphins?
Absolutely, because they have so much excitement, and I can't wait to see this matchup of speed. If they're healthy and you're healthy, it'll be fun.
There's nothing to watch. Josh Allen owns that team. He's a Charles Clay drop pass away from never having lost to the Dolphins. Ever.
Save the tape.
Ever.
Save the tape.
Save the tape. You're going to embarrass yourself again.
I know they're going to win the game. I just said it's a game you want to watch.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Well, I mean, I want to watch it because I hate the Dolphins. I am not worried in any way.
You're going to watch it regardless.
Of course I'm going to watch it because I watch football. And you know what? With your takes lately, sometimes I question whether or not
Oh my goodness, can you believe this? How could you do this?
500 episodes, the loudest, most controversial thing we have is like, who cares about the Miami Dolphins?
I don't, it doesn't matter. It's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins. Okay.
Welcome back to the Press Box here. Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair. No appointment needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. All right, let's see here. One Kyrie Irving felt disrespected in Brooklyn, now is a part of Dallas and the Mavericks. Luka and Kyrie, your thoughts on that trade?
Taking out, which is impossible to do, the personality of Kyrie, looking at it from a pure basketball perspective, Luka is a ball dominant 2. The best ball dominant 2 in the league. You've traded for the second best ball dominant 2 in the league. Anyone else see a problem with this? I mean, from a basketball point of view, it just does not mesh to me. Yes, you've given Luka somebody to help him at the end of shot clocks, but that's what Luka does. That's what he does well, extremely well. And then you throw the baggage in. How long before he's been disrespected in Dallas? I mean, look, the old leopard doesn't change his spots thing. Is there a leopard with bigger spots than Kyrie? I mean, he is what he is.
Boston, Cleveland, Brooklyn, now Dallas.
Kyrie Irving, amazing court awareness, zero self-awareness at all in any way. And like, look, if you start to look at his resume of the legend, you have a Hall of Fame team. on just teammates that Kyrie Irving has had. Right? You play with LeBron James, you get young Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, right? Then you end up in Brooklyn, you play with Kevin Durant, arguably the greatest player of his generation. Now you're going to go play with Luka, and it never works out.
Forgot Harden.
Oh, and Harden, excuse me. Well, yeah, they played, 7 hours together?
Yeah.
No, but to your point about having two players that don't mesh well together on offense, it is mind-boggling to me because we see it all the time with these sideways super teams. Do these general managers not understand how basketball actually works? It's like the owners get in their ear and say, I don't care. Go bring me this name, and we're going to... Dallas, now, with the lack of defense, they're going to be able to play. You're going to have to outscore everybody every night as hard as you can. They're going to have to score 140 every single night to be able to win games with Luka and Kyrie on that team together.
Let's not bring up the fact Kyrie's injury factor, the fact he's been injured a lot over the last few years or so. Spent most of that time in Brooklyn, whether it's the vaccine or with real legitimate injuries. So we'll see about the durability down the line as well, which is a very scary situation.
Well, he did have a lot of time off to let everything heal, between the suspensions and the vaccine thing and stuff like that. So maybe it'll be okay in Dallas.
I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. We'll definitely talk about unfinished business coming up next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back to the Press Box with Unfinished Business, brought to you by the Genesee Brew House, your beer destination since 2012. Visit the gift shop, enjoy a tasting at our pilot brewery, and dine at the pub-style restaurant, the Genesee Brew House. All right, Pat Duffy?
For years and years, we waited for the Buffalo Bills to get good, and we thought, it's going to be amazing when this team is competing every single year, and now they are. And let me tell you something, it makes football suck. Forget the heartbreak of the Bills losing the way they did to the Bengals in the last couple of seasons. The Super Bowl is today, this weekend, and I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to watch the game, obviously, because that's what you do when you live in America when it comes on. I'm sure when the game starts, I'm going to get all excited. I haven't thought a second all week long about whether or not I want the Chiefs or I want the Eagles to win. And if I want to see Jalen Hurts be the MVP or see Patrick Mahomes on his knees with his head in his hands, I just don't care because I feel like this season was robbed from me as a Bills fan. There were so many crazy instances that we talked about all season long that the Bills had to fight through to get to the point where that season was over. And all I want to do is get to September so I can see Josh Allen and everybody else take the field and what that team is going to look like when they do. But I have to sit through this weekend and watch a Super Bowl that I don't want to watch, that everyone else is going to be having fun in the room watching with me. What am I supposed to do?
Well, you could watch college basketball. I mean, March Madness is coming up, and living here in Rochester for years, March Madness meant, where's Syracuse going to be seated? Well, this year, they're not going to be seated again. Jim Boeheim made comments the other night after a victory. Yeah, they actually won a game that they were close late. They didn't blow it like they have all season. He made comments to a national reporter, not a local reporter that he screamed down for asking a legitimate question after a game. No, he talked about the NIL and how much the transfer portal has gone against him. He's since apologized to 2 college coaches. He's apologized to many other. He said that 95% of the people in Central New York want him back because why wouldn't they? I, for one, must be the 5% because your program is outdated, much like your approach to managing players. Last week, Chris Bell made a turnover early in the game and got yanked 14 seconds into a game. Yeah, that's coaching in 2023. That's how you relate to these young kids. Boeheim, it's time A, to shut up, B, to go away.
All right, so it might be a little bit too late, but the NFL needs to get on the ball of responsibility, not drinking responsibly, betting responsibly. I'm talking 50 million people, $16 billion bet on a game today. Yet there will be some fallout in the near future, and you know full well people will be all into their phones, whether or not they'll win a prop bet or this bet or a left bet or a right bet, and bet it all on who's going to win the game. The NFL needs to take some responsibility. You open this door, this Pandora's box is open. If you're going to do it for alcohol, you're going to have to do it for gambling, because I got a feeling this is only going to get worse. That's the Rochester Press Box this week. What are you doing on your phone?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting my bets ready for the Super Bowl. What were you doing?
All right, we'll have a talk after the game. Carl, thanks for stopping
Hey,
by.
always a pleasure, Tariq. Duffy, my man.
Always a pleasure.
And I'll be back next week. And I'll be back next week filling in for Bill, which is a tough job with this guy on the Rochester Press Box.
So